I had built a brand that I genuinely loved. The colors and photos were beautiful, and the whole thing looked exactly like what I had in my head. And when I launched it, I got one client. And when a friend of mine looked at my sales page, she said, "Yeah, it looks beautiful, but I don't see you in it." And I'm like, "Wait, why don't you see me? I'm literally all over the page." And that gap between being visible or being seen or felt is what this episode is about. And actually, it's what the entire show is about. There's a version of your brand that doesn't need to be pushed. It pulls. I'm Judith K. Ritz, founder of the Spirit Brand Academy, and this is the Magnetic Brand Podcast. Every week, we go deep on what actually makes a brand magnetic through human design, astrology, and archetypes. In solo episodes and real conversations with women who've built something that feels like them. Let's get into it. Before we dive into the show, I want to share with you that today is not only a special day because it's launch day, May 10, of my podcast, it's also the 99th birthday of my grandmother. And for this, I'm super happy to launch my podcast on this very special day. Now I want to give you a little bit of a background. So before I started teaching and mentoring and creating brands, I was a professional athlete. I did this for 15 years. I did 100-meter hurdles and bobsleigh. So first hurdles, then bobsleigh. And both I did internationally. And then the pivot to my business actually happened when I moved to Munich. So originally I'm from Germany. I moved to Munich and I made the switch also from 100-meter hurdles to bobsleigh. And I ended up in this super expensive city without having a job because I was a professional athlete. I was still studying and my contract with the army ran out. I was in the sponsorship program. So I had to find a way to survive in this expensive city. And I knew, okay, I can't apply for a normal job because I'm still studying, so nobody would take me. And also, I don't know how to do this with being an athlete, needing my time off to go and be on competitions and training camps for weeks and even months in the winter. And so then I remembered, okay, I know how to train people. I know how to motivate people. I know how to eat healthy so that you become healthy, become fitter. And I started out as a personal fitness trainer. And I did this for 6 years. And during this time, I also started doing network marketing already with a product that fit the personal training, actually. First, we started it with this typical offline, having networking events and so on. And that always felt a little bit icky. And then we started switching online. So that was back in 2014. I started my business in 2009 as a fitness trainer. 2014, we went online. So we created I was in a team with 3. We created our first landing page and a whole system behind this. And that's how I actually got into online marketing. So I started studying and learning everything that you can learn about online marketing, all the different platforms from YouTube, Facebook, email marketing, you name it. And it was so much fun for me that I then, back in 2016, 17, I think it was 2017, I started doing social media mentoring with Facebook challenges. And that was so much fun because I had clients from all over the world, from Hawaii to New Zealand. And then I moved away from these Facebook challenges and doing affiliate marketing to my own business. So in 2020, that was March 2020, I started my first online course. That was like from A to Z for online marketing. So when you start your own business, how to do it. And I created the sales page that I found was super beautiful. And for the branding, I looked like, what do all the other coaches do? How do they have their websites? How do they have their branding? What kind of colors they use? How do they come across in their photos? And then I picked the things that I like and the things that I also find look nice. And I had some photos taken of me in a way where I thought okay, with these photos, I look nice, I look likable, and I look professional also. That was one of my biggest concerns, to look professional. And I built this whole page. And as I told you in the beginning, it looked beautiful, but it didn't look like me. And in 2020, in March, I didn't understand what my friend meant because I had the pictures of me all over this page. And then something happened. And that was in June 2020. I came across an archetype workshop. So archetype for brands, how to create your color palette based on your archetype. So, and then a new world opened to me. And I did this quiz. And the first time I did the quiz, the rebel archetype was the result. And I was like, yeah, I know I have the rebel inside of me, but I also know it's not all. And then the next day, I was in a little bit different mood. I did the quiz again, and then the explorer archetype came up. And I was like, aha, yeah, okay, this already sounds more like what I want to use for my brand archetype. So I created this. That's how my whole rebranding process started. And then I understood what my friend meant, that she doesn't see me on the website. Because the energy that all these photos radiated and the energy that came across with the colors. So the website was mainly white with a little bit rosé and a little bit of a light gray and pink buttons. I think I had pink call to action buttons. And also like a handwriting that looked very thin, elegant. So the entire energy of this page now, from knowing and working with brand archetypes, it was the innocent archetype and not the explorer archetype. So then it made all sense. And then the next new world that opened for me was human design. So then in July 2020, I came across a human design workshop. And that's when I got a whole new understanding of myself. So for the first time, it made sense to me like, okay, I'm a manifesting generator. That's why I start a million things and it's so difficult for me to finish one, or I get bored so fast and I need to switch all the time, like being a born multitasker. And a lot of other things made so much more sense to me. And then I realized, okay, this is a gap in the market. It, at least in the German online business coaching market, it was a huge gap. And then I decided, okay, this is what I want to offer, because it's so much fun for me, and it makes a lot of sense to build your brand from the inside out and not from outside in, like most marketing agencies or maybe marketing and branding mentors do. And then I started to offer my spirit branding workshop the first time in October 2020. It was a test, for me it was like, okay, let's see if anybody is willing to come into my workshop and to try my approach. And I launched also my program, my Spirit Branding Mastery, for the very first time, also as a beta test, and I had my first 3 clients. Then I launched it again, and I launched it again, and every time the workshop got a little bit bigger, then I also used ads to, have more reach and get more people into the workshop. And then the amazing thing happened, and that was in January 2021, and that's where I had my big breakthrough. So I had 114 people sign up for my 5-day workshop. And then I think I don't remember exactly anymore how many clients, like 8 clients or something, 6 or 8 clients. And I made 14,000 euro with this launch, just with my Spirit Branding Mastery and Human Design readings. The workshop I also sold for 37 euro at that time. But this I used to kind of refinance my ad spend. I made 14,000 euro with this launch. The year before, when I did the launch with a brand that was mine, with the online course where the whole branding didn't look like me, didn't radiate my energy, I made 1,000 with this one client. So that was the big breakthrough. And then I did 2 more launches in the first 5 months of 2021. And then also in the 5th month, in May 2021, we made the big move from Germany to Costa Rica. So this whole rebranding, understanding myself on a much more conscious level, understanding my energy, understanding that we radiate energy that comes across in our branding. And if the wrong energy comes across, your branding doesn't work and you don't attract the clients that you want to attract. If it radiates the right energy, first you attract the right people much more easier. And also your business is fun, your marketing is fun, going outside, showing up is so much more fun, and it's so much easier than if you're showing up in a brand that is not you, that feels like a costume or something that you've outgrown, and it just feels like a chore doing your marketing and showing up in your business and doing the daily thing. So and now I'm sitting here in my outdoor office. So this is probably also maybe the first and the only podcast that you will see that is being recorded in an outdoor podcast studio. So now I would like to invite you to check in with yourself. Does your brand radiate who you actually are right now? Does it really radiate your energy, or does it radiate the energy from someone you were 2 or 3 years ago, or the energy of somebody who's completely different than you, that is not you at all, and you were wondering, like, why does your business not work? Do you need to use a different strategy? Do you just need to do more, double down on the things that you're already doing? In whatever situation you find yourself, if you feel something is off or something needs to recalibrate, I want to invite you to take my archetype quiz. I'm linking the quiz in the show notes. It's for free. It's 12 questions, and at the end you will find out what is actually your dominant brand archetype that your brand should be radiating. And feel also free to share this episode with someone where you feel like, okay, this person needs to hear this, or this person needs to do the archetype quiz as well, because I look at their sales page. She's my friend, and I know it doesn't look like her at all, like it was in my case. So I'm inviting you to do this, and also give this episode a like and stay tuned for the next one.